The road to Beijing leads through Las Vegas. It is semi-final round coverage of the 2007 FIBA Americas Championship from the Thomas & Mack Center in Las Vegas. The United States and Puerto Rico, one slot left from the Americas zone to get to Beijing. Argentina has advanced. They will defend their gold medal from 2004. These are the rest of the teams that have qualified. China, the host nation, automatically qualifying. Spain, by virtue of their win of the World Championship in 2006, along with Iran, Australia, Angola, and Argentina have qualified. Well, it's been an ensemble cast for the United States. Different players playing a starring role each night. Bill Walton.
And the last game Thursday night, it was Kobe Bryant versus Argentina. It was his turn to make it happen. Now, Kobe was the second leading scorer on the team, 16 points per game in only 19 minutes of action. In that Argentina game, he had 15 first quarter points, including 3 for 3 from behind the three-point arc. Kobe Bryant is leading one of the great U.S. teams in basketball history as they surge towards Beijing.
That man, Carlos Arroyo, leads the Puerto Rican national team. Doesn't have to be their big scorer. Larry Ayuso will do that, but Arroyo has to keep them on track.
Carlos Arroyo, internationally one of the legends, capable of the huge game. He leads Puerto Rico's perimeter-oriented and freelance attack, and he was, Carlos, the conductor of Puerto Rico's orchestra when they handed the U.S. their worst defeat ever in international competition in Athens 3 years ago.
Tuesday, these two teams faced off. Puerto Rico trying to make it a game, but it was too much from the most dominant team in the tournament, the United States.
The USA, which has had their way, they have beaten every semifinal team in this tournament by 30-plus points. LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, Jason Kidd.
State Farm Insurance brings you the starting lineups. The front court of Puerto Rico, P.J. Ramos, the one-time Washington Wizard, along with Reyes and Antron Lee, an Atlanta native. And there is the guard play. They have great guards, do the Puerto Rican squad. Ayuso and Arroyo, two of the highest scoring guards in the world in international competition. Carmelo Anthony, the leading scorer for the United States. LeBron James, how about that forward combination with Howard in the middle and Kidd and Kobe Bryant, your backcourt. Kidd has not lost in qualifying or Olympic games for the United States at 37-0.
The United States, Chris, is beating their opponents in this tournament by an average of 39 points per game. It's all started with the defense of the guards play, but to get to Beijing, these teams have already qualified for the qualifying tournament to be held just prior to Beijing Olympics starting next August 8th.
They've qualified to try and qualify, which is what will happen to the third, fourth, and fifth place team from this tournament. A chance to qualify in July next year, but the difference between automatically getting in from this tournament and having to go through all of those squads to get there is such an enormous difference. Argentina has done it. Will the United States do it? We're moments away from finding out. Chris Carrino and Bill Walton with you. This game being played at the Thomas & Mack Center in Las Vegas. Jason Kidd, what a difference he has made. Bill, he's only attempted 6 shots in this tournament, but in typical Jason Kidd fashion, doesn't need to attempt many shots to still dominate this team.
Chris, 5 of those 6 shot attempts have been 3-pointers. The one 2-point shot he took was hanging on the rim, and in international rules, they just swiped it off. But Jason Kidd has really been the difference. His work ethic, his quiet professionalism, the leadership by example, everything happening properly for this United States team as they try to get back and restore order in the universe.
Kidd has 40 assists, just 5 turnovers, and the United States in the white will start things off.
And that 40-to-5 assist-to-turnover ratio, that would easily lead this tournament, yes. Or
yes,
any other tournament ever played.
Yes, it does. Puerto Rico with their first possession in the blue. It is Carlos Arroyo, the Orlando Magic.
And the pressure on the ball by Jason Kidd. He will have the daunting task of trying to slow down Carlos Arroyo, who is more than capable of a huge game, championship level performance.
Ayuso is the dangerous offensive player, is being hounded by Kobe Bryant as Arroyo puts the Puerto Rican squad in front 2-0.
Puerto Rico, a small island nation in the Caribbean, 100 miles long by 35 miles wide, just 4 million residents. Does, though, have the distinction of having hammered the United States in the Athens Olympics.
Carmelo Anthony gets the United States on the board. Their leading scorer in this tournament at 21.1 points per game, second in the tournament behind Leandro Barbosa of Brazil.
Carmelo Anthony, one of 2 United States players who suffered a minor injury in this tournament. Bruised heel caused him to miss 1 game. Tayshaun Prince also missed a game. And I say minor injury, that means something that happened to someone else.
Yes. Ramos hitting for Puerto Rico there in front by 1. Kidd.
Zone defense by Puerto Rico, something that has always caused the United States difficulty.
And Kidd on his 7th shot of the tournament connects.
His first 2-point make of the entire tournament.
The United States has had 200 assists to just 83 turnovers.
Well, what's at stake here? The United States, if they win this game today, and they are prohibitive favorites here. What a defensive stance by Dwight Howard. If they win this game, they're going to Beijing. And how many chances in your life do you have with 1 day's work to be able to have your dreams come true?
Jason Kidd has a gold medal from 2000. Gives up the shot. Kobe Bryant connected. And the United States back in front.
Kobe Bryant just overpowering his helpless defender there. Ayuso has no chance whatsoever. Peter John Ramos standing at the back line with his hands in his pockets. What kind of help defense is that?
Oh, Arroyo single-handedly trying to keep Puerto Rico around. They lead 8-7. Here's Kobe, reach in. Ayuso got him. The thing that Kobe Bryant gives the United States, that lockdown defender. Most of these international teams will have one great scorer, as you see Arroyo scoring there. Ayuso is a guy that can potentially light it up for Puerto Rico, but we've seen in a few possessions, Kobe has just blanketed him. Here's Kobe on the offensive end.
Kobe Bryant continuing exactly where he started the game against Argentina. But in Puerto Rico and the United States, you have the 2 hottest teams in this FIBA Tournament of the Americas, qualifying for the Beijing Olympics. Granted, Argentina is a better team than Puerto Rico, but Argentina lost just Thursday night to the United States, pounded by 15 in what turned out to be the closest game of this tournament in Las Vegas.
Puerto Rico only won 1 game in the preliminary round and needed Panama to lose to Argentina on the very last game of the preliminary round. In fact, Carlos Arroyo and his teammates sat in the stands nervously watching as that game went to overtime. And Panama blew a 7-point lead with about 2 minutes to go in that game. That qualified Puerto Rico for the second round. And in that second round, they lost just 1 game. As you mentioned, Bill, that game was to the United States.
It was a disastrous first round for Puerto Rico, going 1-3. They were destroyed by Mexico by 11. Barea, one of their NBA guys from the Dallas Mavericks, he was suspended for 2 games in the first round for arguing vociferously with the officials. The second round, though, they have just been on fire, beating Brazil, Venezuela, and Canada before losing to the United States.
Kidd, an offensive barrage. 5 points for him. A 3-pointer.
One of the reasons, though, this team operates so smoothly is that Jason Kidd has absolutely no ego offensively in terms of putting shots up. So that means that there's 4 guys taking shots that 5 guys usually get. Peter John Ramos against the shot clock. Cannot get it done.
Oh, Anthony saving it. And Jason Kidd leading the break. Puerto Rico gets back defensively. Kidd. Anthony. LeBron. Put back.
Overwhelming size advantage for the United States, which is starting a traditionally small lineup. Basically with LeBron and Carmelo as the forwards, and you're looking at an offensive machine here. But
how about Larry Ayuso? He is deadly from outside, no conscience whatsoever. He's an exciting player to watch. He's got the headband, the guy guarding Kobe with the ball right now.
Puerto Rico is a very sly and coy team. They know when to pick their spots. They're not an overwhelming power in international basketball, just ranked 13th on a worldwide scale right now. And Carmelo Anthony hungry as can be, will earn a well-deserved trip to the line as a foul on Ramos. And here comes the United States leading rebounder in the tournament. Dwight Howard to the bench, Stoudemire in. The United States, shockingly, has not dominated the boards in this tournament. Now, while the United States has been clearly the best team, the three things that they're falling down on are their rebounding, getting pounded in the last 2 games, getting out-rebounded, and then they're the 5th best shooting team in this tournament from the free throw line.
After Carmelo Anthony free throw is good. After all the college football games are played this weekend, ESPN Classic picks the best game from the ESPN family of networks and gives you a second chance to see it. The college football game of the week on ESPN Classic Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern. For more information, log on to ESPNU.com.
Well, that has to be the UCLA game at Stanford today.
Really? Maybe perhaps Michigan getting upset by Appalachian State?
Well, whenever UCLA plays, Chris, it's the best game of the week.
Antron Lee for Puerto Rico has it. United States a 15-13 lead. 10-minute quarters in international play. Arroyo the runner, and it goes at the shot clock buzzer. And that brings us to our first time out of the quarter. It's tied up at 15. First quarter. We'll come back right after this. The United States and Puerto Rico tied at 15. First quarter action at the FIBA Americas Championship 2007. Look at the history between these two teams. Puerto Rico handing the United States an upset in 2004 in Athens. They finished 6th in that Olympics.
And that defeat in Athens was the opening round game in the tournament. And since that defeat, the United States has played Puerto Rico 2 different times, beating them by 11 last year in Japan in the World Championship opener, and then by 39 points earlier this week.
Stoudemire going to work, and he banks in his first shot of the game. If he develops a real low post move, turnaround shot, be unstoppable.
I really hope that Amari Stoudemire and Dwight Howard, Tyson Chandler, the big men for the United States, were able to watch Luis Scola in the Argentine game just prior to this, where Scola put on an absolute clinic on how to play basketball as the pivot player. I mean, the shooting, the touch, the positioning, the thought processes for Scola, just absolutely superb.
Jason Kidd, he is on fire.
Puerto Rico, which loves to play games within games, they knew they weren't going to win the game earlier this round against the United States. They get pounded by 39. They are playing totally different right now. They got a much different strategy. They're packing it in zone defense. They're making Jason Kidd a shooter, which are 2 things you always have to do if you're going to have a chance to beat this powerful team from the United States.
Well, Kidd has made as many field goals in this game as he has in the entire tournament. They're making him a shooter. He's making the shots that time. From a distance, Jason Kidd.
Playing with a much different basketball here in this FIBA Americas tournament. They're getting used to the different seams, the different color scheme. Always a period of adjustment.
There's a reach by Stoudemire.
One of the problems,
makes a difference, Bill, the color of the ball.
Everything makes a difference. Nothing more though than the touch of the ball.
Yeah, the feel.
Goes back to the
old ball they introduced, or the different ball they introduced in the NBA.
The synthetic ball that they tried with the NBA just this past season, with disastrous results.
United States with the lead, and that's a violation.
Coach
did not get it in time.
Who has done a magnificent, better than perfect job of getting this team ready. Over the top, LeBron.
Kobe Bryant making the play for LeBron James, and the United States, just like that, has scored 7 in a row to take a 7-point lead.
The problem for a team like Puerto Rico, whose strength is on the perimeter, they just don't have anyone that can match up with LeBron James. But then again, you could say that about any team in the world.
Arroyo, beautiful spin move. Reyes, though, the rebound, and he puts it in.
Oh, Reyes, Lee, Peter John Ramos, they're nice players, but one player that they're really missing for Puerto Rico is Daniel Santiago.
He retired from international competition.
Well, from the national team. He's still playing professionally over in Europe, but sadly for the Puerto Rican team, they read about it in the newspaper. He didn't even call him up and tell them. They were all expecting him to show up for this tournament, and they picked up the newspaper in San Juan when they said, I'm not coming. Thanks a lot.
The United States has averaged 114.2 points per game and have won by over 39 points per game. As you see LeBron James colliding with Ramos, and Ramos knocked backwards into the basket stanchion.
This first quarter has been extremely competitive.
Ayuso nearly turned it over.
Nice pass.
Reyes. It's rebounded by the United States. Stoudemire.
Puerto Rico has already played better basketball in the first quarter than the combined amount of good basketball that we failed to see in Tuesday night's debacle.
This is Chauncey Billups in the game now. He's replaced Kidd. Baseline, Stoudemire. How about that? The United States on an 11-2 run from the last time out as we get another break with 2:03 to go in the first. Sometimes Jason Kidd has to be a scorer. He has tonight, and he has come up for the United States, already equaling his field goals made for the entire tournament, Bill Walt.
Jason Kidd is only playing 15 minutes a game. Krzyzewski has brilliantly managed the playing time. Amari Stoudemire has both feet out of bounds.
Official missed that one.
That's why the new website, ILoveTheRefs.org, has just been overwhelmed with hits.
Now, Bill,
try to figure out how some of these things are being interpreted.
You know, Kidd's 15 minutes a game, but I just think his presence on this team has meant so much more than his minutes.
They call him the motor. He's the guy who has said from the very beginning, I've never lost a game in international competition as an adult, and I'm not about to start now. Because this is a very young United States team. And when they failed to get it done at the World Championship in Japan last year, when they failed to get it done in Athens, you're talking about guys who didn't really know what to do at the championship level.
You know, speaking with people out in Las Vegas who have been around this team, a lot of these players have just looked up to Jason Kidd as a big brother, and his influence, as we mentioned, going beyond just on the court. I think it's something a lot of these guys will take away, not just in the international competition, but back to their NBA teams as well. And that's the kind of effect Jason Kidd has had on the Nets organization over the last 6 years.
When you look at the current United States squad, they've got 11 finals appearances and 5 NBA titles. The 1992 team, they had 19 finals appearances and 12 titles. But that was before a lot of those guys really got their career going themselves. And that 92 team, they ended up with 36 final appearances and 23 NBA titles. What a squad that was. And that's the standard that these guys have to live up to.
Reyes scoring inside for Puerto Rico after LeBron James dazzled the crowd in Las Vegas. This is Tayshaun Prince. Off the mark at a 3. Ramos the rebound for Puerto Rico.
Tayshaun Prince, who was the United States' leading rebounder through the early part of this tournament, since been taken over by Amari Stoudemire.
And there is Larry Ayuso, who does not need much time to get that quick trigger up.
But Puerto Rico is playing very good basketball. Notice how they're packing it in, forcing the United States to shoot from the outside. Now, while the United States has shot 44%, beautiful interior passing, LeBron James continues to orchestrate scintillating plays.
He's a terrific passer. A willing passer as well.
That's the most important part, to be the willing passer.
30 seconds to go in the first quarter. Ramos against Stoudemire.
Great defense, Amari Stoudemire.
Lee well off, but we get a foul. Will go here.
Intriguing with Amari Stoudemire, because in the game in the second round between the United States and Puerto Rico, there was a very hard foul committed by Puerto Rico on Carmelo Anthony. And Amari Stoudemire, who was on the bench at the time, much the way he was in Game 5 of the San Antonio
where he
series.
was suspended, yep.
Right. So when the hard foul was committed on Carmelo Anthony, Mike D'Antoni, one of the assistant coaches for Krzyzewski, he runs over and gets in front of Amari. Says, "Don't go out in the court. Don't do anything." And everybody had just a great laugh about the whole thing.
Ayuso again. Are you kidding me, Larry Ayuso?
That's the way these guys play. They love to just jack it up. There's no real structure or organization to their game. Kobe Bryant comes right back. The crowd enjoying this immensely. Carlos Arroyo against the shot clock. Oh, now that is some great basketball.
That was an entertaining first quarter. Puerto Rico staying with the United States after one quarter. Entering tonight, the United States, you see the numbers. A close game, not used to that from the United States after one quarter. The final semifinal round game of this 2007 FIBA Americas Championship. A spot in the Olympics in 2008 on the line. We're back with more after this. Getting set to start the second quarter in Las Vegas. The United States with 33-27 lead over Puerto Rico. Easily the tightest game for the United States in this tournament so far.
The United States has been blowing every opponent out ever since the NBA took over this program in 1992. Winner today goes to the Olympics no matter what happens tomorrow against Argentina in the gold medal game. But in the qualifying tournament, with the NBA players involved, Chris, the USA, they're undefeated lifetime, and then only one team has ever come within 10 points in a final score, and only 4 teams within 20 points. That includes Argentina from Thursday night.
Now transition for the United States. Kobe, a little over the shoulder. And here comes Ayuso for Puerto Rico. Over the head of Reyes. One of the things that Mike Krzyzewski pointed out after their last victory against Argentina, he didn't like the transition game. He thought they were a little sloppy in transition, and we're seeing that again here.
In that game, the United States led by 15 after 1.
Kobe for 3.
And it was a 15-point margin the rest of the way. And when you're that much better than your opposition, you're looking to win every possession. You're not looking at the scoreboard per se. And Krzyzewski, who's always looking for that little edge to keep the team sharp, which has not been a problem whatsoever, then you've got a scenario where the coach will point out those things, but when you win the game by 39
coaches have to have something to get on their team about, Bill. You got to have something you can get on them about.
That's a great defensive play.
Yeah, and Ayuso is the one guy that can really keep Puerto Rico in this game. He has 3 threes, 11 points. He'll go to the line here.
But even with 3 referees, they still missed that one completely.
Well, the scorer got the benefit of the doubt, Larry Ayuso.
The commitment of the guards defensively, Jason Kidd and Kobe Bryant. And we've seen them come out the way they locked down Leandro Barbosa, where they locked down English from Canada. Whoever the other team's top performers were, this guard tandem of Bryant and Kidd would come out and just absolutely nullify everything they were trying to do. And when your guards play that kind of defense, it just makes everything so much easier. Because if you give up guard penetration to Carlos Arroyo and Larry Ayuso, you run the risk of getting beat. And a classic example there for Dwight Howard of the allowable play of swiping that ball off the rim as soon as it's in contact with the rim.
Did that very effectively. And there you go, inside. Howard can't get it to go. LeBron kept it alive, but Ramos saved it for Puerto Rico.
Too much emphasis, Dwight Howard, that time on initiating the contact down low. Just break into the open and move around John Peter Ramos, who is...
Arroyo, nifty dribbling to the finger roll, but he can't get it to go. Incidentally, Stoudemire has gone to the bench with 2 fouls. Kobe out there with 2 fouls. Ramos the rebound for Puerto Rico.
Foul trouble should not be a problem for the United States. This roster is so deep.
Apodaca rejected by Carmelo Anthony, but a foul is called. Rick Apodaca, who just checked in, for Puerto Rico.
Fans don't like this call.
And it's a good call. Carmelo led with his left hand.
Generally, when you knee the driver in the larynx, you should be called for a foul.
Rick Apodaca will go to the free throw line. Hofstra University, North Bergen High School in North Jersey. That's up in Hudson County, the all-time Hudson County scorer. They've had some good ones. The WNBA playoffs continue tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on ABC. It's Game 2 of the Eastern Conference matchup between the defending champion Detroit Shock and the Indiana Fever, led by Tamika Catchings. Indiana leads the series 1 game to none. Both head coaches and the lead referee will be wearing live microphones to enhance the viewing experience. That ought to be good.
And then right after the WNBA finals are over, the women's Olympic qualifier begins down in Valdivia, Chile.
That's Kobe Bryant fouled going to the rim. United States in front by 6, 8:01 to go in the second quarter. Chris Carrino and Bill Walton with you.
Very impressive that Puerto Rico is this close. Traveling violation ignored by the officials, and a nice closeout at the basket area. The front line for Puerto Rico coming to meet Kobe out on the floor, because if you wait for him at the rim, you're just going to get posterized.
Kobe Bryant, who missed the 2006 World Championship after he had the procedure on his right knee.
Well, this is the first time Kobe Bryant's ever played for the United States at 29 years of age. First time playing for Coach Krzyzewski, too. Although he was talking about going to Duke University, but he chose to come straight to the NBA. And then Coach Krzyzewski was offered $40 million after Phil Jackson left the Lakers, and Coach Krzyzewski turned that down.
I think they both made the right decisions. It's Barea in the game now for Puerto Rico with the Dallas Mavericks. Sanchez, that's broken up in the United States with the turnover. Kidd.
Kobe would have been a better player if he had gone to college. Now that's...
What about that guy, Dwight Howard?
You name me one player who wouldn't be better off by going to college.
7:32 to go in the second quarter. The United States has opened up a 10-point lead. Second quarter, the United States, a 10-point lead on Puerto Rico. Chris Carrino and Bill Walton back with you. This game being played at the Thomas & Mack Center in Las Vegas. Semifinals of the 2007 FIBA Americas Championship. Argentina has already qualified by beating Brazil in the other semifinal, and the United States can join them with a victory in Beijing in 2008.
Brazil had that game. They controlled most of the first half, in control in the third quarter. Nene gets hurt in the first half. They can't hold on, and Scola, Prioni, all the players from Argentina, really their second-tier players, they came out and just played a fantastic basketball game. And whoever they play tomorrow most likely will be the United States. That will be one heck of a game.
Puerto Rico, if they were to lose, along with Brazil and Canada, who finished 5th in this tournament, will have a chance to qualify in the pre-Olympic qualifying tournament next year. Here's Barea inside. That's a foul. Thought he might have got away with shuffling the feet, but Jose Juan Barea, the diminutive point guard who played 33 games with the Dallas Mavericks last season, also played in the D-League in Fort Worth, where he averaged nearly 30 points a game. Excellent Northeastern star, Bill.
Excellent footwork down low by Barea, who plays with the supreme confidence that Ayuso and Arroyo display on a regular basis. But you have to really wonder about the Dallas Mavericks. I mean, this is a team that won 67 games a year ago, had the MVP in Dirk Nowitzki. And all of a sudden, the only move that they make after going down in historic fashion to Golden State is to sign a 35-year-old Eddie Jones.
Filiberto Rivera in the game, creates, but they can't finish, and here comes the United States.
Jason Kidd, who did not start one of the games, that was against Mexico. They were trying to shuffle things around a little bit, brought Chauncey Billups and Amari Stoudemire instead of Dwight Howard. The team did not look that good that game, and so ever since, Krzyzewski has gone with the one starting lineup, and Dwight Howard continues to throw down monster power dunks.
How about the assist from LeBron James that time, where he loves to be that middle of the floor. So hard to double when he's got that ball at the foul line, as Ramos missing, and Kidd just tips it to Carmelo Anthony and now has it.
Ramos does not have the mobility or maneuverability to compete at this level with the United States, and everything going right for the United States. They just keep coming at you in waves. The three-point shooting, 44% as a team throughout this Tournament of the Americas.
Second three from Carmelo. But the rebound here by Ramos from Puerto Rico.
Pass.
And through the hands of Ricky Sanchez.
So, Ricky, where would you like it next time?
Carmelo
Anthony down the lane. And with Ramos making the right play defensively, where is the guard to come back? Barea just standing out at the free throw line. Somebody's got to come back and cut the legs of the big man who's going in for the monster jam.
U.S. with a 12-point lead. Billups in the game. Here's Filiberto Rivera, who started in the German league last year. At the point guard, such great guard play. Barea is an NBA player. He's got it now. Rivera's a good guard. Here's Barea's shot off the mark, rebounded by Anthony. That's their second unit of guards. This is Billups. Stoudemire, fouled by Ramos. DJ Ramos, who was the first international player to go from high school to the NBA, played 6 games with the Wizards in the 04-05 season. He's been sort of rebuilding himself back in the D-League now the last couple of seasons.
But Peter John Ramos is an old enough player now that he should be beyond the D-League. That is more geared toward the younger guys.
Not so much age, but experience for him. You know, he was drafted back in 2004. Still just 22 years old.
He's 22 years old now? Peter John Ramos? I must be caught in a time warp or something.
This is a guy that was basically playing basketball because as a 14-year-old, someone in Puerto Rico discovered he was 7 feet tall.
Well, when you speak of age, this United States team is much younger than the '92 team that everyone loves to talk about on a regular basis. Beautiful drive, Barea down the lane.
And put in on the follow that time by Falcone. Puerto Rico hanging in there right now.
Chauncey Billups is an outstanding defensive guard, and he was just made to look like a statue.
Yeah, 3 straight years on the all-defensive team for him. There's LeBron James, the duck under, try to force it, and a turnover. Barea.
Puerto Rico will not pull the ball back out. Set offense is not the strength of their team.
Rivera, it's an 8-point game.
Barea, Rivera, Ayuso, Arroyo, just playing superb basketball right now. They can get something out of the front court. I'm going to call a defensive foul on Puerto Rico, trying to deny the flash post position.
Ricky Sanchez. So the transition game of Puerto Rico has been effective. Rivera finishing. Filiberto Rivera, who started with the Artland Dragons in Germany.
When you look at this United States team and the difference from just a year ago.
Prince for 3.
They have 6 new players. And last year, the United States had Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, who should be here, but they're both injured. Elton Brand, who's also injured. Sean Marion, Carlos Boozer, and Chris Paul were on the team that got pounded in the semifinals by Greece. So now they come back with Kobe, Jason Kidd, Chauncey Billups, Michael Redd, and Mike Miller, the shooters, and then Tyson Chandler and Tayshaun Prince to bring some size up front.
Alex Falcone will go to the line for Puerto Rico. Michael Redd checking in. He has been one of the stars for the United States in this tournament. As you mentioned, so many people can step up and become big scorers. He's averaged 14.5 points per game. That's 4th on the team. And he has really benefited from the 20-foot, 6-inch three-point line.
Michael
Dwayne Wade that you spoke of before, Bill.
Can only hope that his surgeries to both shoulder and knee are going to allow him to start the season on time, with training camp just a month away from today. Where does summer go?
The offseason goes in a hurry, doesn't it? Especially when you've got these games, as Billups handles for Prince.
And you got Basketball Without Borders going to Johannesburg next week.
And one for the United States. LeBron James will go to the line with a chance at a three-point play.
And then with the endless nature of what NBA basketball has become, you've got Europe Live starting up in early October, where Boston goes to Rome, Minnesota to Istanbul, Memphis to Malaga, Toronto goes to Treviso, before Boston and Toronto meet in Rome, and then Boston and Minnesota close it out in London. So lots of basketball on the international stage for these NBA stars.
12-point lead for the United States. Barea. Tough floater. Probably an ill-advised shot. Falcone, though, the rebound, and he got fouled.
Late whistle.
Tayshaun Prince.
These international games, they go so fast. Krzyzewski just beside himself. Little pump fake and then right into a shadow. No contact whatsoever. The crowd here and Tayshaun Prince joining Krzyzewski in their disbelief.
You talked about the scare Tayshaun Prince had in their game against Brazil, where he came down and turned his ankle, had to miss the next game. He's a guy who's played every game for his team, the Pistons, over the last 4 years. Falcone free throw is no good. As you look, you brought it up. The NBA Europe Live, and we've got the schedule for you.
All these teams will be having their training camps in Europe, which is a great idea. The exposure, the chance to learn something about these fabulous places around the country. Istanbul, now that's one of the great cities on earth.
All those games on ESPN2. Your coverage of the NBA teams traveling internationally.
Zone defense, pack it in, make the United States knock them down from behind the line.
Detroit Piston combination there. Billups to Prince. They can't get it to go. Here's Rivera for Puerto Rico. Battle going on inside. Falcone battling Michael Redd. That's a mismatch Puerto Rico wants. And now finally they get a foul on Redd.
Michael Redd just beside himself. If the United States maintain your poise.
Yep.
A great story about Michael Redd was Jerry Colangelo was putting this team together. He went around the country and met all the guys during the course of the regular NBA schedule. So he had back-to-back meetings in Chicago one day, 9 o'clock in the morning with LeBron. LeBron shows up a minute early, and Jerry Colangelo starts talking to him about how you've got to make this commitment and what we're going to do here. And LeBron says, Jerry, just wait a second. I'm in for 3 straight years. We got to get this back, and the referees have completely lost control.
Well, what happened here is Barea went to the line to attempt the free throw. Falcone was the player who was fouled. So it should not be Barea shooting the free throw.
If you try to fool and trick the refs like that, that should be a technical foul.
Now they're going to check the replay to see who it should be. Falcone is the guy. He was the guy, this is number 9 here for Puerto Rico. He took Redd down to the block. They were battling, going at it. He's the guy that was fouled.
Well, I'm sure there are some people in the El San Juan hotel bar right now figuring this out and saying, you know what, that was Barea who should have gone to the line. Whatever they say at the El San Juan hotel is good enough for us.
Is that your favorite spot down there, Bill?
That's one of the finer hotels anywhere.
What a scene, right?
But the question is the foul on the screener or the foul on the ball? And with the officials having no control whatsoever, who knows what language they're going to be speaking? How can you argue with them?
Well, even with each other, you've got different officials whose first language is different. Although, as Falcone will go to the line here, the free throw is good. I think Barea just stood at the line and tried to buy that one, but Falcone did it all right. And it's a 10-point game now, United States in front.
But as a follow-up to the LeBron commitment with Colangelo, with 2 minutes into the conversation, I'm in, you don't need to sell me anymore. The next meeting is with Michael Redd. Michael Redd comes in. Colangelo's waiting. Michael Redd comes in his sweatsuit, just off the plane, carrying a suitcase. He says, Jerry, excuse me, I need to use the restroom. He goes into the restroom, puts his suit and tie on for a 10 a.m. meeting, walks in and says, Jerry Colangelo, how can I help you? These guys are determined and committed to make this happen.
And they have looked impressive, of course, in this FIBA Tournament of the Americas. The real challenge for the United States is Howard missing badly on the free throw. I think the real challenge will come from Europe, and that's what we'll find out in the 2008 Beijing Olympics, as well as an Argentine squad that will get their players like Ginobili and Nocioni, Alberto, Herman in to play with Scola and Delfino. But you've got Greece and Spain and Italy and teams that have been getting better throughout the world. The Eastern European, former Eastern European clubs.
Argentina is the best team outside the United States right now. They lost
the whole world.
In the whole world. They lost a heartbreaker to Spain a year ago.
There's a turnover.
In the semifinal of the World Championship.
U.S. with numbers. Carmelo on the finish.
The old 5-on-1 conversion works every time, particularly Carmelo wise enough. Give it up early. That way you can get it back and get the dunk throwdown.
That poor defender for Puerto Rico was the only guy back with Carmelo and Kobe and company.
He should have just started running up the other way.
Should have left the building. But Apodaca answering back for Puerto Rico. This is respectable. 11 points with 2:16 to go in the second quarter.
Puerto Rico has nothing to be embarrassed or ashamed about. They're down to a superior team, but they're playing with fabulous spirit, passion, and commitment, and what more can you ask for?
A reach in on Barea as Carmelo went down to the block. Another look at that fast break.
And as hot as Puerto Rico is, you would think that the dengue fever that is now ravaging the Puerto Rican island was a positive thing.
Carmelo Anthony at the line. Makes the free throw. What was that again?
A lot of people are very sick right now in Puerto Rico because of the dengue fever, which is carried by mosquitoes. And so we're just only hoping that they can somehow get that health crisis under control.
Free throw there by Carmelo. As Barea into the front court, guarded by Billups. Rivera.
Puerto Rico makes an attack that's much more similar to the NBA game than the traditional international powers like Argentina and Brazil, Spain, Italy.
And we're going to have a timeout. A daunting task for Puerto Rico, but they're hanging in. And we're back with more second quarter action. The closest game the United States has had at a halftime in this tournament. They led Mexico by 14. Second quarter here with 1 minute and 44 seconds to go. The United States with a 13-point lead on Puerto Rico. Chris Carrino, Bill Walton back with you. Mike Krzyzewski's club in a bit of a game with Puerto Rico, a team that was so close to being eliminated in the first round of this tournament. And here now with a chance to get to the Olympics.
And here's that zone defense that's caused the United States grief over the years. Air ball by Jason Kidd. Pack it in, make Jason Kidd shoot from the perimeter, and hope and pray that he's not having one of those magical days. And speaking of magic, it was wonderful that Magic Johnson has been spending time with this squad in Las Vegas. He's at the game Thursday night against Argentina.
Barea, his three no good. Rebound knocked out of bounds. A foul is going to go against Puerto Rico.
Chris, don't ever think that these games become just endless series of cakewalks, because all you have to do is just go back to the Indianapolis disaster in '02, where the United States took 6th in the World Championship. So they had to go and qualify. That qualifying tournament was in Puerto Rico. The United States goes 10-0, wins every game by an average of 31 points a game. Then they go over to Athens, and they lose the last 3 games to Puerto Rico, Lithuania, and Argentina. Just a nightmare.
And sometimes it's just that one game or that one matchup that can throw you. Everyone thinks that the 2006 FIBA World Championship was such a disaster, but it was really just the one game. I mean, they didn't dominate the way they have in this tournament, but they just lost that one matchup to Greece, and I think kind of took everyone by surprise, and they didn't win that tournament. That's why they have to qualify here in this tournament.
Anything can happen in a one-and-done tournament.
Yep. The United States.
That's one of the reasons that the NCAA tournament has such allure to the fans. Well, it's not the best basketball, and the upsets just cause havoc with the rest of the tournament.
Apodaca missing on a 3, rebounded by Howard.
Now that is a rebound. Howard playing with a very heavy heart over the top. Carmelo Anthony.
Good offensive foul. Getting position. Anthony called for the foul.
Well, it's very sad with Dwight Howard and his teammate Jameer Nelson from the Orlando Magic. Jameer's dad, who works in the shipping industry in the Philadelphia area, where Jameer went to college, he's missing. He apparently fell off the boat into the river, into the Delaware River, and so they haven't been able to find him in a couple of days, and we can only hope that Pete Nelson is okay.
Final 37 seconds to go in the first half. Puerto Rico with it, Bryant.
Great defense, Chauncey Billups. Nobody can get a shot off for Puerto Rico.
It's 2. An air ball, and that's a violation.
When you have that kind of effort out on the perimeter, you got Dwight Howard just covering up everything in the back line. This team can do anything they want to, and that's what gets them out into transition. Turnovers, Puerto Rico with 8, the United States just 2. Closing possession here of the first half.
Can hold for the last shot, Jason Kidd. Billups turned it over. How about that? And the first half comes to an end. Kobe Bryant led the United States with 12 points in 14 minutes. Puerto Rico was down just 6 after 1. We go to the locker room. The United States a 15-point lead. Semifinals, the 2007 FIBA Americas Championship. We'll have the halftime festivities after this. United States a 15-point lead at the break. A look at the halftime stats brought to you by McDonald's. The United States a 15-point lead at the break.
The United States shooting a sizzling 66%. Their defense is stifling, although they're only giving up 39% opponents' field goal percentage all tournament long. 3-point shooting, superb for the United States, woeful for Puerto Rico. But with the Puerto Ricans out-rebounding the United States by 7, that's a trend that has happened the last 2 games with Brazil and Argentina. Coach K won't be happy with that, but the highlights from the first half, Chris, brought to you by AT&T.
So we'll go long distance. Jason Kidd, the 3-pointer to start the scoring off. He made more field goals in the first half of this game than he had the entire tournament. He only attempted 6 shots coming into this game, Bill Walton.
Carlos Arroyo very strong with 8 points and 4 assists of his own. LeBron James unstoppable in the paint. Carlos Arroyo comes right back, but with LeBron James getting 10 points and 7 assists. Dwight Howard very solid in the middle. The USA was led by Kobe Bryant with 12. Carmelo Anthony has 11. They're the 2 leading scorers on the tournament. 20 minutes of action before we will see if the United States will qualify for the Beijing Olympics starting next August 8th, excuse me.
Yeah, we'd rather play the Summer Olympics in August than October, but it'll be the United States or Puerto Rico qualifying, or Argentina already has by virtue of their semifinal win against Brazil. And again, remember, the teams that lose these semifinal games, as well as Canada, who has finished 5th in this tournament, will have a chance to qualify for the Olympics in Beijing with a pre-qualifying tournament a month before the Olympics next year.
One of the things that's been a disturbing trend for the United States in the slide downhill since the height of Sydney, where Rudy Tomjanovic was the coach and there was such a special Olympic team down there in 2000, is that the team, as the tournaments have gone on, they've played progressively worse. That is
Anthony again for 3, his 3rd of the game.
That has not been the case with this squad.
They've gotten better as the tournament has progressed.
Every day, every game, every possession, every quarter. And now they have 2 quarters to go, and they have reached their goal.
Carmelo Anthony all over Antoine Lee. This is Arroyo.
And look at that defensive pressure. Nothing Puerto Rico could do.
Oh, except bailing out is Ramos through a little jump hook. You know, Bill, another look at what's at stake. The winner goes to the Olympics. The loser can qualify for that pre-Olympic qualifying tournament. You know, this used to be the part-time home of the Utah Jazz back in the early 80s. The Thomas and Mack Center in Las Vegas. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar actually set the all-time scoring record in the Thomas and Mack Center. That P.J. Ramos little jump hook. Was that reminiscent of Lou Alcindor?
I'm not ready to make that leap of faith. P.J. Ramos, who's not related to P.J. Carlissimo, but here's a guy who's only 22 years of age. I've been watching this guy seemingly forever, P.J. Ramos. And now Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was,
there you go, LeBron James. Speaking of special, now, and it's a 21-point United States lead like that.
Now one day, LeBron will join Kareem in the Basketball Hall of Fame. It will join Kareem as one of the great players in the history of the NBA.
Oh, the defense of the United States stifling. And look at the spirit. Everyone on their feet applauding the defensive effort. Entire bench, the support. Again, the look at LeBron.
When you come out in this third quarter, that's when you go for the kill. You played decent enough basketball to give you the good 15-point lead at the half, but now you come out, you bury them, you try to break their spirit. That'll be tough to do because these guys from Puerto Rico, they're tough, they're good, and they have the type of individual game that if somebody gets hot, they can make it competitive. But with no presence inside to speak of, how are you ever going to be able to take complete control? And the way that LeBron James is working so hard at the complete game.
United States at 8-2 start for this third quarter. Kobe. The dish off for LeBron. Carmelo for three. Carmelo Anthony leads the way. The second leading scorer in the tournament. The top scorer with the United States team. And the U.S. on their way. The third, fourth, and fifth place team at this FIBA Americas tournament will go to this qualifying tournament with these teams that you see listed. That's right before the Olympic Games in 2008 in Beijing.
And with Sean Marks leading the way for New Zealand, look for them to be a favorite. Canada will be greatly improved if Andy Routens can recover from the knee injury suffered here. And FIBA basketball, they have to make the adjustment that the NBA did by allowing you to bring a 15-man roster so that when players get hurt the way Nene did earlier today, you can make substitutions as the tournament goes on. Because Brazil now will have no inside present for tomorrow's consolation game.
Especially the amount of games that are played in such a short period of time in these tournaments.
The United States is playing 10 games in 12 days, which is unheard of. And fortunately, the United States is a good enough team with talent top to bottom, 1 through 12, that the guys are only playing 15 to 20 minutes apiece.
It doesn't affect them as much as it affects some other countries.
You watch the other teams. You know, Esteban Batista for Uruguay, who has just been a fabulous performer in this tournament, he's playing 40 minutes a game out of 40. And 6 or 7 straight days of that, I don't care how good you are or how well conditioned you are not going to be able to get it done.
Quality of play definitely deteriorated as the week went on with some of those teams that are top heavy. Here's Kobe. A little shake and a crossover. They recover nicely though, the Antoine Lee. Here's Carmelo. And he got bumped and fouled.
Carmelo Anthony is having so much fun. He is such a unique player. He's playing a power forward position here with this squad. And he's playing against guys who are a lot slower than him, who don't have the maneuverability. Plus, the defense is stacked against Kobe and LeBron. So Carmelo is just wide open all the time. And Dwight Howard can't stick a fork in it.
Arroyo with it now after the steal. The three, no good. Rebounded by Howard. I don't know if there's another player in the U.S. squad that has blossomed over the last couple of years playing internationally as much as Carmelo Anthony has.
He takes advantage of the quick-hitting style of international basketball. In the NBA, you have so many guys who are trying to create their own shot and dribble all the time. Carmelo, he'd much rather just catch and shoot, flash in from the weak side, make a quick hitting play.
He led them in the worlds in scoring as they get it inside, and LeBron able to put it in. But Carmelo led the team in scoring in the World Championships last year. He leads them in this tournament. The United States, a 24-point lead, 7-minute mark of the third. And Ayuso, he can keep you in it offensively. A gunner. Now Anthony answering right back.
And Carmelo certainly takes advantage of the much closer three-point line, 3 feet closer.
6 threes for Carmelo in this game.
And his commitment to physical fitness has really separated him from so many other players.
He'll score that goal and a goaltending against Dwight Howard. I think when you see Carmelo Anthony in person, the thing you're struck by is just how big he is. Great size, Carmelo Anthony. He's such a great athlete at that size. His ability to shoot over smaller defenders, take you down on the block, and we're seeing the three-point shooting. Carmelo 6 out of 7 from behind the arc in this game. The United States a 22-point lead.
But the versatility, which is really favored in the international game, as opposed to the specialization that's taken over the NBA, where one guy shoots, one guy dribbles, one guy rebounds, one guy plays defense. In the international game, as we see with Argentina, everybody does everything.
The positions are kind of blurred in international competition. It doesn't matter 1 through 5. Who's the guards, forwards, centers, all kind of blends. I think would you say the NBA though is getting a little towards that? I think you see some undersized power forwards, some bigger guards.
San Antonio does a very good job of that, and what you see with Phoenix and Mike D'Antoni and how they're saving basketball in general, that it's got to be an inspirational aspect of all the young players coming up to see how you need to play to be successful if you're not a Kobe Bryant or a LeBron James who can just do anything and everything off their own dribble.
Larry Ayuso single-handedly doing everything he can to keep Puerto Rico in the game. That's his 4th three, and Carmelo answers on the other end with the alley-oop. LeBron James with the feed.
LeBron James must have double-digit assists by this point. I mean, he had 7 at the half, and he just continues to shine in all the little things.
Well, you're close. He's got 9. Here's Reyes inside, and he got fouled by Howard. LeBron, we mentioned in the first half, underrated part of his game is his passing ability and also his willingness to pass the basketball.
But look at the differences from Athens in '04 when the United States lost to Argentina in the semifinals. I mean, that team had LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, Amari Stoudemire, yet they were 3 of the 4 lowest scorers on the team, as they were sitting on the bench so much of the time, as the team was micromanaged, as the plays called just too much. Coach Krzyzewski has really aired things out. He has let Jason Kidd get the team going in transition. He's let all the guys create. They're having the time of their lives. They are going to miss the experience that they've had here as soon as they leave tomorrow night after the gold medal game.
Kobe Bryant staying with it, and a foul is called. Oh, Kobe Bryant will go to the line with a chance at a 3-point play. A spectacular play by Kobe Bryant. It's coaching, right? The pirouette, the spin, and the bucket.
Nobody can do the things that Kobe Bryant does on the basketball court, and the choices that he makes. You know, we see him as the NBA's leading scorer the last 2 years. We've seen him in this tournament be the defensive stopper. We've seen him throw passes. We've seen the work ethic that has always been there since he joined this league as a 17-year-old coming to the Lakers.
Buster Figueroa in the game, off the mark. Kidd's got it, ahead of steam.
Now even that is traveling. Even that.
LeBron looking around like, what are you talking about?
Well, it's always good to look like that, because you want to act like what you do. If he would have dribbled once, it would have helped.
A lot more emphasis on the traveling violations in international play than in the NBA, although it has been clamped down on a bit of late, as Arroyo He'll shoot a three. No good, and there's a foul on the three-point attempt. Jason Kidd, the guilty party that time, and Arroyo will get 3 free throws.
Puerto Rico can't throw it in the ocean right now. And what's happening to the Caribbean Sea just below the Puerto Rican archipelago there, with the dozen or so islands that make up that wonderful location. They got a big oil spill going on down there right now in Puerto Rico, and they can only hope to contain it before it ruins those fabulous coral reefs around Ponce and all the other cities that dot the southern edge of the island.
Second free throw good. Puerto Rico, a self-governing, unincorporated territory of the United States with Commonwealth status. No federal income tax, but they do pay Social Security and Medicare, and they're all citizens of the United States. As Arroyo missing the third, and the rebound by Kidd.
More Puerto Ricans live outside of Puerto Rico and in the United States than do in Puerto Rico.
LeBron James scoring, and he'll go to the line with a chance at a three-point play, as Buster Figueroa could not stop him even by fouling him.
The United States is on a very impressive roll right now, and this is really started with the inbound play to start the third quarter, and with the defensive tenacity that the team showed, it just got them out into the transition game. The theory of how you would ever have a chance to beat a squad like this, of packing it in, making the United States shoot from the outside, control the tempo, your set offense is perfect in its execution, and the delivery of the jumpers wide open from ball movement, making the U.S. play defense, and it just has no chance to come into play here.
And the defense stifling that time. LeBron James with 17 points. He had a perfect game in this tournament against Uruguay. 26 points in 14 minutes. He was 11 of 11 from the floor in that game. In this game, LeBron is 8 out of 8 from two-point range. His 2 misses in the game have come from behind the arc.
LeBron has played at times during this tournament the way he played in Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals against Detroit, when he went for 48.
Is that one of the greatest NBA performances you've ever seen, especially in the circumstances?
Unquestionably. I don't care what the circumstances were. You play like that, you're taking on the road crowd in Detroit, which is a fabulous crowd if you're the home team, but it's a devastating crowd if you're playing on the road. Everything on the line. Looked like Detroit, after going up 2-0, was just going to cruise right on into the NBA Finals and then take on San Antonio, and LeBron said, "This is my world, and I'm only 24 years of age, just getting started."
And he got himself a ticket to the NBA Finals, which is a valuable learning experience, as a foul is committed against Stoudemire. He'll go to the line.
The halftime feature that we ran about the comparisons to the '92 team that had so many of the legends,
Hall
Jordan
of Famers,
and Bird and Magic and Patrick Ewing, the starting center, and David Robinson as a 3-time Olympian. But that '92 team had 5 guys on it that were older than 30. And there was only one guy in the entire team who was younger than 25. That was Christian Laettner. That was the college throw-in. And now, this current national team for the United States is so much younger, with only 2 players older than 30, one of those being Jason Kidd. And there are 6 players on the squad younger than 25. So a very bright future for the United States.
A little ragtag back and forth. Puerto Rico still down 25, 4 minutes to go in the third.
But with all these players playing now for years for the United States.
How about that bounce for LeBron James? He can do no wrong. He's got 19 points.
You don't think he tried to do that, do you?
Yeah, that was the old hit it off the guy's leg and have it bounce right back to me. Arroyo training a 3. NBA player, his Puerto Rican team, of course, with Arroyo.
The only guy I ever saw do that regularly and on purpose, where it bounced it off the other team, the only guy I ever saw was Danny Ainge. He loved doing stuff like that. And now that Danny Ainge has got the Boston Celtics back in championship contention.
Yeah. ESPN.com has full coverage of the U.S. basketball team as they continue qualification for the 2008 Olympics in Beijing. Video features and reports from Las Vegas by Chris Sheridan highlight the coverage. Check out ESPN.com for all your USA basketball news and information. Mike Miller checking into the game as Anthony makes the free throw. The U.S. in control by 25. They led by 15 at the half.
Mike Miller, the only player in this tournament for the United States who was fouled out of a game. And I don't think I would have ever associated any thought whatsoever of Mike Miller on the defensive end.
So he was not your candidate to be the one disqualified player, as Ayuso from deep.
Well, Mike Miller is a tremendous basketball player, but his game is stroking wide open jumpers.
Career high 18 points a game with the Memphis Grizzlies last season, third in the league in three-point shooting.
And with Navarro coming over from Spain to play for Memphis this year with a healthy Pau Gasol, Darko Milicic, a real international flavor there as Mark Ivaroni gets his first opportunity as
Michael Redd draining another three for the United States.
The route is on.
Their 12th three of the game. Acrobatic play by Arroyo won't go. Phillips broken up. That was going for Amari.
The crowd
anticipated.
In Las Vegas, it's always a Laker crowd. And they were educated in basketball from Chick Hearn and Magic Johnson and all the Showtime plays that they know what's coming when Chauncey Billups starts looking to throw that lob.
Ayuso fearless down the lane, knocked to the floor and fouled. A great story Larry Ayuso is. He's a kid who bounced around from homeless shelters in New York City when he was a kid, ended up going out to live with a family in New Mexico and really gave him an opportunity. Ended up going to USC, a three-year starter, co-captain of the '99 team at USC, all Pac-10 player. He's played professionally in Puerto Rico, Italy, Greece, Turkey, Lithuania, Croatia last season and next season. A talented scorer on the international scene, Larry Ayuso.
And he plays in perfect harmony with Carlos Arroyo, who can create, and then when the defense rotates, Larry just steps right over there and he will drain those long-range jumpers with the best of them. Great scores. The last Olympics, Arroyo was 4th in the Olympics in scoring. Ayuso was 6th. This is Redd, speaking of scoring. Knocking down a three, the 13th three of the game for the United States. A 30-point advantage. But imagine if this Puerto Rico team could ever have a big man in the capabilities of Dwight Howard or Amari Stoudemire. But in a population base and pool to pull from of only 4 million people, makes it extremely difficult. The United States, on the other hand, 300+ million. Phillips. Stoudemire couldn't get it to go. Got his own miss. It's loose, and here's Ayuso of Puerto Rico. Sometimes it looks like these guys are playing on the 8-foot baskets at the elementary school. Ayuso trying to shake Miller. Miller doing a good job. Lee left open. Can't connect. Rebounded, though, by Puerto Rico. And Arroyo knocking down the three-point shot. I think Carlos Arroyo, he's always been given so much more freedom with Puerto Rico internationally than we've seen him in the NBA, but I think he's becoming more of a true point guard as Michael Redd again from the same spot, 2 straight threes. Well, how about the daunting task of being the backup point guard on teams that are trying to win the championships? I mean, playing behind Chauncey Billups, you get very little freedom in that situation because the minute you make one mistake, the coach is going to just yank you and put Chauncey right back in. Now he's playing behind Jameer Nelson, a star guard for the future, down in Orlando. And I'm really excited about Stan Van Gundy coming back to the NBA as a head coach, and look for Orlando to improve on their. With Rashard Lewis there now as well. That's well, they got back into the playoffs challenge this year. Absolutely. And but then were badly swept and kind of fell apart at the end against Detroit. While Detroit played a very good first 2 rounds, once again fell asleep when it really counted. There's Billups
runner. No good. You mentioned the Celtics. Danny Ainge building that club before, and I know you want to expound on that.
Well, Kevin Garnett.
And there's a no call on a play.
What a dream opportunity for him to come and play for the most successful franchise in the history of professional basketball. Print the banner, number 17, in honor of John Havlicek.
Miller from deep. Oh, Mike Miller took that one from South Dakota.
So you reach
the century.
You reach the century mark in the third quarter. You've done your job. And the United States, I think they can safely say that Beijing is within sight.
100-69. Final seconds of the third quarter, and a foul is committed against Arroyo. Was fouled that time on the drive.
Tremendous hesitation dribble by Carlos Arroyo.
Another look.
The ball movement swings right back out top. Mike Miller, that is his game.
From Mitchell, South Dakota. Last international experience played in that 2001 Goodwill Games team for the United States. Rookie of the Year back in 2001 in the NBA as Arroyo missing the free throw. Think about Mike Miller in his career. He's won a 6-man award. He's won Rookie of the Year. Career high 18 points a game last year. It's not a bad career put together by the 8th-year player out of Florida.
And playing in markets that don't get all the exposure that Los Angeles, New York, Boston, Philadelphia, Chicago provide.
Well, the United States dominance continuing in the semifinal round. They had a 15-point lead at halftime, but in the third quarter, the proverbial floodgates opening, and the United States in complete control, reaching 100 points at the end of 3. The fourth quarter, 10 minutes remaining for the United States to qualify for the 2008 Olympics in Beijing. 2007 FIBA Americas Championship at the Thomas & Mack Center in Las Vegas. Semifinal action. These are 10-minute quarters, folks. The United States scored 43 in that third quarter. In terms of what was, by the U.S. standards in this tournament, a close first half, 15-point lead going to the third, and it has become a blowout as we get set for the fourth quarter.
An offensive explosion, but just emblematic of the way it's gone for the United States, as they are clearly not just the class of this tournament, but the class of the world. Whether they can get it done at the Olympic Games in Beijing, people having a good laugh along the bench. Jim Boeheim, the Hall of Famer from Syracuse, Krzyzewski, the Hall of Famer from Duke, and the two NBA coaches,
Mike D'Antoni
and Nate McMillan, maybe on their way to the NBA. And with the reports coming out of Portland, Oregon, where they had the epic, monumental, and historic signing of Greg Oden, they're having great stories about the team already there, working out on their own at the practice facility. Everybody's in tip-top shape and got rid of a lot of the problem guys, and things looking up for the Portland Trailblazers. And what could be better than that?
Oh, what couldn't be better than Michael Redd in that right corner? He's going to start getting his mail from that right corner as he's knocked down 3 straight threes from that corner.
Well, it's a good sign for Michael Redd to get the stroke back, because the first week of the tournament, the guy was on fire, and he was just getting all the opportunities in huge minutes by this squad standards. But then the last 3 games, he really has not had the range at all, and it has just become a three-point shooting contest here for the United States as to who can make the most difficult one.
They're 16 of 25 from behind the arc.
I think that Krzyzewski will live with that percentage. Because remember, when the United States went down to Puerto Rico
in the game, missing the shot.
When they went down to Puerto Rico in Athens in the first game, the United States shot 3 for 24 from behind the line.
They lost that game
by 19, the biggest defeat in international competition of the 7 times that the USA has gone down.
Darren Williams of the Utah Jazz over to Tayshaun Prince. This is Stoudemire. Stoudemire against Valenzuela, who had just checked into the game. Commits the foul, Hector Valenzuela.
Chris, one of the coolest things that I've seen with everything leading up to Beijing, the business Olympics and everything. In 2 weeks, Yao Ming and Steve Nash are going to host a charity basketball game in Shanghai. And it's going to be members of the Chinese national team that Yao Ming is bringing. And then it's going to be Baron Davis and Derek Fisher and Carmelo Anthony, Greg Oden, Barbosa from Phoenix in Brazil, and a lot of the Houston Rocket players. But they're going to play this charity game to raise all the money for orphaned children in China who need all the help they can get to get the education they need to build lives for themselves. So this all came about when Houston was playing at Phoenix during this last regular season, and Steve Nash and Yao Ming, who were both represented by the same agent, Bill Duffy, they were chatting after the game, and Steve, who was top of the list in terms of doing the charitable stuff, he looked at Yao Ming and said, "Hey, what are you doing? You know, we got to start picking up the pace here a little bit," and Yao Ming has clearly answered the bell there. So congratulations to those two heroes.
Not the first time that players, as Michael Redd training another three. That one from deep. Michael Redd with another three, his fourth. And the United States in control by 34.
So how does Argentina play it tomorrow? Does Argentina go for the victory? Certainly they will, but they're outmanned.
Michael Redd showing he can distribute it as well behind the back from Ari Stoudemire. They're loving it on the U.S. bench.
And this has just become a practice now for the United States team. And
yeah, here you go. Michael Redd, a layup I think disappoints the crowd.
Well, he got caught with the wrong footwork on the way in for the layup. He jumped off his left foot for a left-handed layup, and that just won't get it done. Michael Redd, being left-handed, just rarely gets those type of transition opportunities, but to see the Milwaukee Bucks, that is going to be a good squad this year. Because what Senator Herb Kohl did.
As Miller drains another three. Now it's just fun to stick around, see how many threes the United States is going to make. They're enjoying it. A three-point barrage by the United States. More fireworks when we come back.
Print the boarding passes to Beijing.
6:39 left in the fourth quarter. The United States 113, Puerto Rico 72. The United States has made 17 threes, but that's a dunk and an easy one from Ari Stoudemire. Michael Redd looking like Jason Kidd. It's contagious.
It's also about knowing who your personnel is on the wings. You're coming up the court, you glance one way, you got Mike Miller fading to the three-point line, or you got Amari Stoudemire just salivating on his way for the throwdown. Come to the big man and reward him.
Puerto Rico, this was a game for a half. The United States blowing it open in the third quarter.
One big man who's going to provide great rewards is the new Chinese player who's coming to Milwaukee. And what Senator Kohl did this week in flying all the way to Hong Kong.
Three at the shot clock buzzer for Puerto Rico, Apodaca.
But to see play is to see another player for the future. And China, which will be a major power as the host country, and the host team always has a huge advantage in the Olympics. But you're going to team up with the new addition, Desmond Mason for Milwaukee. You got Bogut from Australia, Charlie Villanueva. Mo Williams gets the big free agent contract. Larry Kristoviak's first year as a coach, head coach. They can somehow find a way to re-sign Charlie Bell, the unrestricted free agent. They could become a real power in that Central Division.
Crowd wants Redd to get it. He is 6 of 6 from behind the arc. Perfect 7 of 7 in the game. Miller. Three is good for Miller. And the three-point barrage continues for the United States.
What is the spread here? I can't figure out that margin, incalculable margin.
We need the diff.
Well, let's see. To 100 is 25.
Oh! Tayshaun Prince from Darren Williams. The United States, which has made 23 pointers.
But while it's good to put a show on and to always play your best, you have to be careful to not embarrass your opponent.
Falcone scoring inside. The United States has averaged 114 points per game in this tournament. What's amazing is you're playing 40-minute games, and the points they're putting up is staggering. Redd again. First miss. Darren Williams, though, over the shoulder. And Tyson Chandler, who's just in the game, gets fouled. pretty good depth at point guard for the United States. We've got Kid Billups and the youngster Darren Williams, who has already in his brief career, 2 years, become one of the top point guards in the NBA.
And they've really spread the minutes around. One of the great things about this, because there's always the concern that these guys are going to get worn down. And we mentioned how young they are, but it's still the mental concentration and focus it takes to prepare yourself every single day for this type of performance is just very, very demanding. But Jason Kidd, who plays 15 minutes a game. Darren Williams plays 15 minutes a game. Chauncey Billups, who plays 17 minutes a game. Krzyzewski has just done a better than perfect job of keeping everybody's minutes way down.
45-point lead for the U.S. Shot blocked by Chandler. Falcone had his shot blocked, and a foul was called.
But that really addresses the whole issue of how this team was put together, Chris. Because it was after the 2004 debacle when the United States lost to Argentina. In the semifinal game, Argentina goes on to win the gold medal, that everybody realized that things had to change. And so Jerry Colangelo, he gets chosen to be the big man on top. And Jerry Colangelo, he calls together 20 guys. 8 previous Olympic head coaches, including Pete Newell, Chuck Daly, Lenny Wilkins, Rudy Tomjanovich, all the legends. Then he calls together 12 former players, guys like Jerry West and Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Magic, Bill Russell. They have a big meeting in Chicago. Chris Mullin's there. And they figure out, okay, what do we need to do to get back on top? And the first thing they did was figure out you got to get a coach. And so the 2 coaching choices that came out of that meeting, because Colangelo put a big slide presentation of all kinds of guys. Everybody said, no, don't get him. He'd be terrible.
Did your name come up?
Heavens, no. I don't know anything about basketball. But the 2 names that came up were Coach Krzyzewski and Coach Greg Popovich. And so the first call was to Popovich, because he was the NBA guy. But Popovich had a very bad taste in his mouth from what happened in Athens, where he was an assistant coach.
And he was a very good friend of Larry Brown's.
And he was tired from the grind of the NBA, where they had just won the championship. And so the call went out to Krzyzewski, and he jumped at it. And Coach Krzyzewski, now 60 years old, said, yeah, this will be unbelievable. And it has turned out that way.
Rivera. Apodaca fouled. 3:20 left. The United States ahead by 44 points.
I'm glad you can make that mathematical calculation.
The crowd wants Carmelo Anthony.
He's got a scoring record possible.
Well, he's got 27 in the game. The free throw is good. The United States record in a game was Carmelo Anthony's 35 at the Worlds in Japan last year against Italy.
Coach Krzyzewski is not putting Carmelo back in the game to get a scoring record.
George
Karl is calling him on the phone.
He's not chanting Mello.
He's not chanting Nene either. Nene, who was out of shape coming into this tournament.
A strained right calf in the first quarter of their semifinal game against Argentina, did not return to the game. It's Nene we're talking about. Miller from deep again won't go. Rebounded by Falcone of Puerto Rico.
One of the coolest things I learned about international basketball for the United States, because I wasn't around during the 1936 Olympics, but the Olympics in that year were held in Berlin. It was the Jesse Owens Olympics, and Marty Glickman, who was just
Michael Redd again from deep as his 7-3 goes down. 23 for Redd.
But Marty Glickman got shortchanged in one of the worst atrocities in sports history.
Yeah, did not run in that Olympics.
Right, the fabulous book, The Fastest Kid on the Block by Marty.
Mike Miller on the other end.
But the story that really caught my eye was James Naismith, who invented the game of basketball in Springfield, Massachusetts in the late 1800s. He went to those 36 Olympics. That was the first year basketball was ever competed for in Olympic competition. So he got to attend as a fan, as a dignitary, as a celebrity, watch the United States win. The games were played outdoors. And sadly, James Naismith, he died 3 years later. But he got to see his dream game come to fruition in the Olympics.
Miller hitting a 3. And the United States has made 21 threes. A three-point barrage by the United States. A 46-point lead with 1:54 to go in the fourth quarter. The United States 22 out of 35 from behind that 20-foot, 6-inch line, a three-point line. Michael Redd, 7 of 8 from behind the arc. He's got 23 points. What a weapon he is for the United States in this well-balanced, put-together squad that is just moments away from sealing their ticket to Beijing. Not that we really thought there was ever any doubt.
I got an A on my boarding pass.
You're going to be seated first. Bryant from Puerto Rico, who will have a chance to compete for the bronze medal tomorrow in this tournament. Also, a chance to qualify for the Olympics in July next year. Bryant. Let's remember, Puerto Rico, were minutes away from being eliminated in the first round of this tournament. They were in the stands watching Panama nearly upset Argentina in the final game of the first round of this tournament. They would have been going home as the lob for Chandler.
Now Tyson has been able to do this with great regularity throughout the tournament. Those reverse slam dunks.
Not easy.
Well, it would be nice if Tyson could become an offensive force for Byron Scott and the New Orleans Hornets.
It did show progress last year, though, I thought. Led the league in offensive rebounding as Puerto Rico again off the mark. Had career highs every major category, Tyson Chandler. Buster Figueroa scoring inside. Disappointment on the face of Larry Ayuso of Puerto Rico, but he's distinguished himself, as he usually does in these international competitions. He had 22 in this game.
But it's what you do when the ball bounces the other way that really determines who you are as a human being. And
well, he's bounced back from a lot in his life.
Yeah. Hey, Puerto Rico, they've done their job. They're going on to the next tournament. They still have a chance to get all the way to Beijing, and these guys have used basketball to improve the quality of their lives, and our hats go off to them.
Tayshaun Prince with the 23rd three. 22.8 seconds to go as Apodaca knocks down the shot.
And
the United States, final seconds. A dominant performance. And they have sealed their ticket to Beijing in 2008. The final, the United States 135, Puerto Rico 91. The United States connecting on 23 three-pointers. Dominant once again as Mike Krzyzewski's group is on to Beijing in 2008. The 2007 FIBA Americas Championship. The U.S. will play Argentina for the gold. One of the toughest jobs in this tournament is picking the play of the game when you have a United States team that makes so many beautiful ones. This was our higher play of the game.
Kobe Bryant along the baseline, picks it up off the ground, drives through the entire country of Puerto Rico, hangs in the air for a seemingly interminable time. The sun could rise at Fajardo and set at Cabo Rojo during the time he was in the air. Kobe Bryant is our higher player of the game.
The United States, a 135-91 victory. The three-point shooting, Bill, impressive, I think it's safe to say, for the United States.
Impressive. You'd be hard-pressed to make that many layups. And a layup line uncontested. Turnovers, the United States only commits 10. Puerto Rico, just a bit too many. Most points in the tournament for any team, 135 for the United States. The chant from the beginning of training camp for this squad was 1, 2, 3, dominate. They did that throughout. They answered all questions. This team is on its way to becoming one of the great teams in the history of international basketball, joining Bill Russell's 56 team, Pete Newell's 60 team, and the 92 Dream Team, led by Chuck Daly, the Hall of Famer.
They'll play for the gold against Argentina, but the United States and Argentina are on to the Olympics. Once again, the final, Puerto Rico 135. Oh, excuse me, the United States 135, Puerto Rico 91. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Bill Walton, our entire ESPN crew, I'm Chris Carino. saying good night from the 2007 FIBA Americas Championship, where the United States has dominated.